Hello guys, welcome back to my video channel. So let us start again. As in my previous video I told you that we have to do the autowire, but this time we will do the autowire by using the annotations. So last time we have done, in my previous video we have done by using the XML configurations. Now what we are going to do is we will do the autowire by using the annotations. So as we have already seen that what do you mean by the autowire, so we know that autowire is what exactly it is, the injection of the object, but who is going to do it for you? The container. So injection of object, who is going to? Implicitly done by the container. So container is going to do for you. Now we are not going to provide anything over here, so container is going to do the object injection for us. So as we have already seen my last example, that how the object injections is going to be performed by using the configuration. So in my previous example we have seen that we will use the autowire by name or by type. If I will provide by name, so it will check the name of the ID, which is the ID of the object ID for the class. So it will check that if that is same as whatever the ID you provide here in the class. Okay, if that is the same, then it will use the by name. Otherwise, if you have provided here the by type, it is going to check the type of the object. So what is our object? At is the object type is address, so it will check to your person class. Yes, address type is there, so definitely it will work. So this is what exactly the configuration one. Now we are not going to do the we are not going to provide anything into the configuration file. We will use the annotation. So let us see how that is going to be performed. Let me take the copy of this example. So I will just make a copy of this example. So instead of creating again, I will make it as a Spring Autowire by annotations. Okay, let me copy it and got it. So this is a project. So let me go back over here. I will just change here the fact ID. Done. Now let me go here in my class. Now I have already the ready things. So this time what I am going to do is I am not going to provide this autowire over here. If I'm not going to provide this autowire over here, how this Spring container knows what I need to do? It will create the object for the person class, it will create the object separately for the address class, but it will not inject that object because we are not providing here the autowire. So what we are going to do this time, we are not going to provide the autowire, the keyword, the attribute into your XML configuration file. Instead of that, what we are going to do is we are going to write here the annotation called as autowire. Okay, so if I am going to provide here the autowire annotations, it will inject the object, the address object into the class. Okay, let us see what will happen. So definitely it won't work. I know why it is not going to work, but I need to show you. So if I will say here, it will tell me address is equal to null. The program is correct, everything is okay, but what I am using over here is I am using annotations. Okay, so when you are using annotations, so autowire is the annotation which Spring has provided you. So if I am using this annotation, I need to tell to Spring container that this time I am using annotations. So read that annotations. Based on the annotations, you have to perform the task. Whatever the annotation you are using, it's not mandatory only the autowire. Whatever the annotations we are going to use, we need to tell to Spring container that we are using now the annotations. So what we have to do over here is we have to use here the context. So this is the context annotation config tag we require to use over here. You can close it here also, or you can provide. We need to give this tag, and if you need to use this one, that's why I usually used to check the check boxes when I created this XML configuration file. I check the context, I check the bean. So bean tag is getting used by this one. So context is because of this class. So when you require the context, it's mandatory. This is the context class which should be there. Okay, then and only then you can use this. So now I used a context annotation config. So that means I just enable that annotations. Now I am telling to the container, use the annotation. What is the annotation I provide here? I provide here the Autowire annotation. Let us see again whether it is going to work now. So, oh, perfectly, it's working now because I got the address now. So that means this is mandatory whenever you are going to use annotations. This tag needs to be there in your configuration file. What I have done now, what is the change which we done in the previous XML configuration project and this project? We find in the XML configuration, we require to give a Autowire manually over here, and we need to define to the Spring container which type of the or which mode of the Autowire you have to use. So here I didn't define this to the container that which type of Autowire I need to use, whether I have to go with the type, whether I have to go with the name, because if might be you have not seen the last one. So we know that we have a by name, we have a by type, we have the constructor, okay, we have a no, we have auto detect. Okay, so these are some of the annotations type. So I didn't provide here anything. I just used Autowire. So what is the mode the Spring container is going to use to inject your object? By default here, Spring container is going to use the by type. The Spring container is going to use the by type. By default, Spring container is going to use this annotation, this mode of annotation. So by type, it will go and perform that annotations. So which means it will check, okay, it will not check the name of the your ID. It will check the type of the ID. If it is going to match with your particular class, then it will work. But sometime if there is the cases that if it fails to check whether the type is same or not, then it will jump to the by name. Got my point? So if the type is not going to match, then it will jump to the name. So first initially it will start checking by the type. If any it fails in that case, then it will try to auto-wire the object by using the by type, by name, sorry. By default it's the type, and if it is sometimes it fails, then it will go to check the by name. Okay, now there is the cases like if I am going to use the Autowire by type only, so where it is going to get fail and where it is going to get the problem. Let us say it's possible the person can have a multiple address. Okay, so let me just create another object of the address class. Okay, let us see when the situation is going to get the problem. So it's the address. I have a address 1, I have a address 2, and I have a address 3. Okay, say like I have a Maharashtra, I have a JNK, and let us say it's a state, select something. Okay, okay, now so we have a 3 object, address 1, address 2, and address 3. What will happen now? The person is the class where I injected the object by using the annotations. Okay, so Autowire is the annotation, so it will inject the object by using the by type. As I told you, the by default it will go with the by type. Okay, now let us see when it will go to a by type. What is the problem over here? We have a 3 object with same address type. Okay, let us see what it will give me the problem over here. Okay, let me save it. It's giving me the error. What is the problem? Okay, let us see. No qualifying type of a bean address available. Accepted single match bean found 3 address 1, address 2 and address 3. So what was the what container was expecting that if I have a one bean with the same type which I want to inject, so by type it is going to definitely by the first time it is going to check by type. But what is the problem over here? By type fails. Why it fails? Because it was expecting that there will be a single match. Okay, but it found there are the 3 matches which are having the same type, like address type for all the. So what is going to be happen now? It is not going to inject that. It throws me the exception over here that is not going to be matched because there are 3 cases. So what I need to do at that time? So now what it is going to do is it will try to check it by the name. Okay, but the problem is again, if it is internally going to check by name, here it is the address 1, address 2, address 3, and in my person class it is address. So definitely it won't again work. So let us try to make a one change here. I will go and provide here a address 1 because as we have, so but other I need to change every places over here. So that is also not possible. Okay, so what I'm gonna to do now, what we have a better solution for that, we have to use another annotation which is called as the qualifier. So what I'm going to do over here is I will write here at the rate of qualifier is the annotation. Okay, I will provide this annotation, and in this annotation whatever the name I'm going to provide here, I say let us take a address 2. Okay, this is my the address 2 which I'm going to provide over here. Let's save it. Let's go back and execute this one. Oh, superb, it's working fine, and it's going to take your what exactly? The second object. So which means now what it did? First time it checked with using a type, but it find there are 3 objects. So it internally changes to by name. Okay, but the problem is that there are again the problem, the object name is different, and there the object which you have defined inside the class, that name is different, so it won't be able to provide your by name by type. So what we did now here is we define that the name is add2, so it will go and it will inject that particular object over here. So it will check this one, it will check the type of this object, it will use this particular object for the injection. So if you are having this kind of a situation where you have a multiple object, so you can inject the object by using the qualifier. So the first thing what we learn here, if we need to use a autoware is going to be used by type by default, but if by type is getting failed, then it will check by the name, and if there is again a problem, you can use a qualifier. Now where we can provide the Autowire also. We can also provide the Autowire on the setter method. Let us assume I'm not going to write here the Autowire, or let me just do one thing. Copy this one. Okay, I will comment out here. And there is the set address. Okay, let us see whether it is going to work or not. Okay, I'm going to save it. I'm going to run it. Perfectly working. That means I can use the Autowire, okay, because by default if I'm gonna to use a by name, by type, the both of these two are using the setter injection. By default they are going to use setter injection. So by default whenever we are using the annotations, they are going to inject your object by using the setter injection, even though it's a by name, by type. Okay, if I'm using a by constructor, then definitely it will go and inject the object by using the constructor. Okay, this is the Autowire, but I need to comment out this. Okay, I have already commented. So definitely it will give me the exception over here. Okay, let me just save it. I will go and execute this. So it will give me the exception because as I told you, in the auto wiring, if you're going to do by the constructor or if you're going to do a auto wire, it will not inject the primitive dependencies. It will only inject the object dependencies. For that, what I need to do is, for the time being, I will just comment out these two properties. Okay, I will comment out, I will remove this one. Okay, I will remove this one too, and I will remove all these getter and setter methods for this particular class. Okay, so let me remove it. Yeah, or okay, let me comment it because if I need to tag. Okay, now what is there? I read it. I will just comment out this method also, and I will just say generate toString method. Okay, so I have only a one toString method. This I need to comment out, and this I have already commented. So what I did is I kept only one particular property, that is the address, and I used a constructor injection over here because I didn't provide any primitive. So this is the one example there. You can find out that yes, it's not really injecting the primitive, it's only injecting the objects. Correct. So let's go. So it's going to be saved now here. So definitely when I will save it, it will give me the exceptions into the bean.xml file because we have a property tag. So let me just comment out these property tag over here because I don't require this property. It is only having a one, and there are multiple addresses now. Let us see what is going to be happen, whether it is going to work now or not. So let me just say run and say Java application. It's still giving me the exception because it's telling me no qualifying bean of type. The address expecting a it is expecting a single but matching 3. Okay, let us see because I will. Okay, let me just take a qualifier here. Okay, so if I say the qualifier, it won't. If I go to use a qualifier on top of the constructor, it won't work. Okay, so we cannot use over here. So what I need to do is now I will save it and go to the bean here and just remove these two, and let us see whether it is going to work for us or not. Let me go here, go to here and just run it now. Perfectly, it is working now. So that means if I'm using a constructor, so first of the thing is that we should know there should not be a primitive. Okay. Second thing, we can use the Autowired over here. Qualifier is not going to be used. Qualifier you can use on top of the object, but for the constructor you cannot. So in the bean you can provide a one object, it will work. Got my point? So this is how you can inject by using the constructor, by using the name, by using the type. And auto detect is the we can say is the mode with what is going to be happen where the Spring will try first by using the constructor. If it fails, it will go and try it by using the type. Got my point? So this is how we can do the Autowire by the XML configurations, by using the annotations, and when we need to use the annotation, it is mandatory. We need to use the context annotation config this tag. So by using this, we are enabling the annotations. We are telling to the container we are using now the Autowire annotation or whatever the annotations you are going to use. So this is how then and only then we can use these annotations. Once we use the Autowire annotation, by default it is going to check by type. If it finds there are multiple objects with the same type, it will try to go with the name. But again, the problem is that if the name is different, then definitely it won't be inject your object. So what is the thing that we can use it? We can use a qualifier. So qualifier is the annotation by which we can inject the object. Clear my point? That we have seen the constructor, and this is how we are going to inject the object. We are just providing the annotation, or we are just providing in the XML configuration Autowire is equal to default or by type or by name. So Spring container is going to inject your object. Clear my point? So this is what exactly your Autowire. So in the next video, we will learn the bean lifecycle, we will learn the scopes, and then we will complete over the module of the Spring. Then we can move to the Spring MVC. So if you want to watch my another videos, please subscribe my channel, share my channel, like my channel, and please click on the notification button. So whenever I will upload the videos, you guys can get it as soon as possible whenever I will upload. So guys, thanks for watching my video. Thank you a lot.